あまりにもショックで、ただ天井を見つめていた。天井が崩れて落ちて私を押しつぶし、もうそれで終わりだって思った。何もできないと思った。そう、地震が起こった瞬間はそんな感じだった。
I had a fever. I couldn't eat. It was the main issue. I just kept throwing up. And yeah, because I couldn't eat, I had no energy. It was difficult to throw up and move and stuff. Luckily, in my bedroom, that's not so much stuff that can fall over. Some of the clothes fell down, but it wasn't so dangerous. But I could hear in my kitchen area, just like the sound of falling, like dishes and glasses. And it was just like, I remember it was so long, just like wouldn't stop. The noises of crashing glass. So that was very memorable. Some of my shelves fell down. I could hear that. I live in an apartment. It's on the first floor, so I think it's better. It's definitely shook less than on the higher up floors. But at the same time, I just really thought that the second floor is just going to smash me. I definitely thought that would happen. I kind of stayed there. I think I was just shocked, so I just stared. What do I do now? I was really very sick. I was just out of it. But my friend brought me food and medicine, and just like that, luckily, my door was unlocked. So my friend on the second floor came down and opened the door and, "We have to get out," yelled. And then I got up and left the house. If she didn't do that, I don't know how much time I would have and just stayed and confused. But then we left the house.
熱があって食べられなかったのが一番の問題で、吐き続けてしまうので水分だけ取って食べられなかったからエネルギーが本当になくて、だから体を動かすのが本当に大変だった。幸い私の寝室には倒れそうなものはあまりなかったので、服がいくつか落ちたけどそれほど危険ではなかった。でもキッチンのあたりで皿やグラスが落ちる音が聞こえてきた。それはまるでなんというか、ガシャンガシャンってガラスが割れる音がいつまでも鳴りやまなくて、そのことは強く印象に残っています。その後、棚の倒れる音が聞こえてきた。アパートに住んでいて1階なので上の階より揺れが少なかったと思うけど、同時に2階が崩れて押しつぶされるんじゃないかと本気で思って、絶対そうなると思った。それから私はそのままそこにいた。ショックで、それでただじっと唖然として、これからどうすればいいんだろうと考えて、本当にとても具合も悪かったので意識も朦朧として、でもありがたいことに私の友達が食べ物や薬などを持ってきてくれた。玄関のドアに鍵をかけてなくてラッキーだった。そう、だから2階に住んでいる友達が降りてきて、ドアを開けて外に出なきゃって叫んだので、私は立ち上がって家を出た。もし彼女がそうしてくれなかったら、しばらくはそこにとどまって混乱のままだったと思う。でもそれで私たちは家を出ました。
I think there are a couple of difficult things. The first, maybe 24 hours, we couldn't talk, especially our area, Matsunami. We really had no connection for the data or cell phone or anything. And we didn't have Wi-Fi, so I couldn't get any kinds of communication to anyone. So that was hard. I think it was hard after, at the time, I knew that I was alive, so I'm not worried about, am I okay? I know that I'm okay. But it wasn't until afterwards it really clicked, because when I talked to some of my friends and stuff after I left, it was like, we thought you were dead for such a long day or something like that. And that's a lot harder. I think I maybe didn't like to focus on it. To me, it's like Well, I'm okay. I know that I'm fine. I can talk to my friends and family eventually, but realizing that they had to have worried about, the first day, it was difficult. I think for me, it's hard to say the hardest thing. There's a lot of difficult things. I mean, I think the thing at the time that I was really focused on was because I was sick, like I couldn't move or do anything. Young people have come to help and do things and take care of things, and I felt really useless. I couldn't, sorry, I don't want to cry too much, but my junior high school students were taking care of me, and they would come by and check and bring food and water and check if I'm okay and ask me questions for the doctor so they can talk about my condition and stuff. It was hard to kind of feel like I couldn't do anything for them.
で、田んぼのあぜ道から小学校を通ってこっちの直線から自分はここの交差点まで来て、この道路に声が死んでしまった。真っ暗で一人で歩いていて、二人いてもあれ取りに行ってくるわとか言って単独行動になるんで、真っ暗で誰もいないとこ、ぐちゃぐちゃなとこ、一人でこうしてここで下敷きになってたちょっと手前で夫婦おばあちゃんおじいちゃんのお孫さんに娘さんに呼び止められてちょっと下敷きになっているんですけどって言って、いやちょっと浮気だけ取ってきていいですかって言って取ってすもなく寒かったんで、ここも車が詰まって通れなかったんですよ。全くこっち遠回してこっち遠回りをして、こっちからこうしてあっちの角でも、また助けてくださいって言われて、いやちょっと向こう行かなきゃいけないんでまた応援呼びますって言って浮気その部屋から取ってきて向こう行って、そこで2人なんとか救助できたんですけど、隙間から入って、柱切ったりして余震もあったんですげえ怖かったんですけどね。隙間入ってる中でここって言うんで、それで2人救出してこっち戻ってきた時はもう応援の人が他の人が来てくれて。
That building. We evacuated to that building, and when we evacuated, the fire had already started here. It was burning red, and while glancing it from the side, I went over there, towards an elementary school. I don't quite remember where I started or how I went, but I realized it was cold too, so I went back to that one-story house to get a firefighter's jacket or something through here. Here, there was another couple trapped in the rubble. That building over there. So I walked along the footpath between the rice paddies to the elementary school, and then came here in a straight line to the intersection. There was a dead car on the road. It was really dark, and I was walking alone. Even if I was with someone, eventually I had to act alone as one of us had to get something. It was pitch black, yes. I came here alone, in a messy place with no one around. Just before the place where they were crushed, the granddaughters of couple, a grandmother and grandfather, called out me, saying, "They were crushed." I replied, "Can I go and get my jacket first?" It was terribly cold. Cars were jammed here too, so it was impossible to get through on this road. I took a detour and came this way. I was asked to help again at the corner, so I told them I had to go to a little further and would call for help again. So I got my jacket from the one-story house, went back there, and somehow managed to rescue the two of them by getting through a gap like this and cutting a pillar. But it was really scary because there were some aftershocks. I could hear a roaring sound while I was in the gap. When we rescued the two and came back here, other people started coming to help.
ずーっとありましたね。やっぱいろいろてんやわんやの状態でなんか大変でしたね。いろいろなんか侵してきたものまで揺らぐみたいな感じもいろいろ。やっぱこういう大変な場所で人の振る舞いっていうか人間性まで出るんで、こういうとこでも平気でね、ポケット手突っ込んで偉そうに道路の真ん中歩いてる社長とかもいましたしね。挨拶もしないで。人間性がすっごい出るんですよね。大変な時に出ますね。議員さんがくしゃくしゃのお金を渡してきたり、別に領収書いらねえみたいな。なんでそんなになるんかな。応援してきた議員さんとか、普通大変な人に寄り添う気持ちで接するんですけど、すっごくめんどくさそうに来たりとか、そういうのはそういう部分できつかったですね。心がそれでヒリヒリみたいな状態で、常に痛いしヒリヒリした感じでいましたね。もうだいぶ本当に。あと取材ですかね。取材も大変でしたね。やっぱみんな風呂のことで心配してメッセージとか来るんで、大丈夫ですかって、いや大丈夫です、家族無事ですって投稿できなくて、一人亡くなられてるんで、亡くなられた家族の人がその投稿を見て、私たち大丈夫ですって投稿を見たらどう思うんだろうと思って、なので大丈夫でしたけど、常連さん亡くなられましたっていうこともやっぱり正直に言わなくちゃいけなくて、それ投稿してからマスコミの人もいっぱい来ましたし、一回も囲まれて何人くらい、十何人いて囲まれたりもしたんで、それもきつかったですね。ずっと取材答えてる時でも、そういう時でもやっぱり逃げられないし大変なことなんで、一人ね戦闘で亡くなったっていうのはだいぶ大変なことなんで、でも代表として正面から向き合いましたけどね。
It was there the whole time. It was a very hectic situation, and it was very difficult. Yeah, there were a lot of things. It felt like even the things I believed in were shaking. A lot of things. In these difficult places, people's behavior or humanity comes out. Even in places like this, some CEOs were walking around in the middle of the road with their hands in their pockets, acting all high and mighty. They didn't even give a greeting. That's where humanity really comes out. It comes out in difficult times, like a council member handed me a crumpled bill, like they didn't need a receipt. I wondered why it had turned out like that. Normally, you expect people to be sympathetic to others who went through a difficult time, but they came as if it were too much trouble. It was tough. It was like my heart was aching. Yeah, really, it was really tough. And the interviews were tough too. Everyone was worried about our public bathhouse and sent me messages asking if I was okay. I couldn't just post, "I'm okay, my family is safe." One person had died. I wondered what the family of the person who died would think if they saw that post saying we were okay. So I had to be honest and say that we were okay, but our regular customer had died. After I posted this, a lot of media people came. Yes, I was surrounded once by, how many people? There were about 10 people, and I was surrounded by them. That was tough too. Even when I was answering interviews, I couldn't run away, and it was a big deal. Yes, one person died in a public bath. It was a big deal. But as the manager, I had to face it.
When did you begin to first think that you believed that you might survive?
On the 3rd, the people of the village were talking about walking down the mountain the next day, January 4th. So the people who originally lived in the village cleared routes here and there that could be taken, and realized that this route seemed possible over the course of 2 to 3 days from January 1st, to safety. It's not definitely safe, but if there are people who want to go down the mountain, we should at least try. so I had to think about it overnight and decide whether to go down or not. I had to make a decision first about whether to walk down or to wait there for a helicopter rescue. I couldn't walk down with my grandparents. They would have to stay there, so I wondered if it was okay for me to leave them behind. But I also wanted to get home, even if it meant walking. I had thoughts like that. My uncle and aunt had already decided to go home to try to walk down the mountain, and they told me, "You have to decide for yourself whether you want to join us or not." So I thought about it overnight and decided to try to walk down with them. And the next day, 14 people, including other villagers, came. So we walked through the landslides for 2.5 hours. At that point, I really prepared to either live or die. I wasn't sure if I would be able to get back alive, if there was another aftershock while we were walking through the landslides, but I decided to try to make it back anyway. I was really torn up about whether I should leave my grandparents behind, and I wondered how they were feeling as they waited for me there. Yeah, like how they felt about seeing me off. Yeah.
Well, perhaps they said, "Don't worry about us."
Yeah, that's how it felt. Like, you have to make your own choice. Well, they did say, "We're glad you were here."
We often see reports like, because the earthquake happening around New Year's, lots of relatives had gathered together, they were saved. I think a lot of people are saying that even though you knew nothing was certain until January 3rd, because you are young, did you feel pressure on yourself to do anything?
No, it wasn't like that. Actually, it was the opposite. I was helped by other people. On January 1st and 2nd, we slept in these two cars, very close to my grandmother's house, but the cracks in the road started to get worse. So my grandmother said, "We don't know if we'll be able to get the cars out again. So even if it's a bit difficult, maybe we should try to move them while we still can." So we drove ourselves to the foot of the bridge where our relatives were and slept in the car for the 3rd and 4th. At that time, there were people from the village there. How many people? I think it was less than 20 people. Some of them were also sleeping in their cars, about 10 cars parked there. I went with my grandmother, and she introduced me, saying something like, "This is my granddaughter. I hope it's okay that she's with me. I'm sorry for the extra person, but thank you for accepting us. We truly appreciate it." The neighbors also greeted me by saying, "Evacuation life is surprisingly fun." They told me such things with swollen eyes that had not been able to sleep. But yes, they said such things to try to cheer me up. I was really helped by those words. Yeah, I've been living here in Hakui for a long time, so I didn't know the people of Wajima, and I felt like I was surrounded by strangers. But everyone helped each other, yeah. I think we did our best with the situation we had, yeah.
「もちろん日本はアメリカとは全然違う。学校も環境も全然違うし、生徒の態度がそこまで違うかどうかはわからないけど、もう慣れたかな。何年もここにいるし、いくつか違いはあるけど、それも私の仕事に関係してるかも。アシスタント教師としていろんな学校を回っているから、学校の文化に完全に馴染むことはなく、常に少し外側にいる感じ。でも私が頑張ったことは、一緒に働いている先生たちや生徒たちにちゃんと評価されていると思う。この場所が大好きで、5年間住んでて、本当に素晴らしい文化だと思う。お祭りも素晴らしいし、みんなが出てきて、お互い支え合ってる感じがすごくいい。それに、ここで本当に素敵な人たちと とたくさん出会った。それだけじゃなくて自然が美しくて食べ物もすごく美味しいんだよね。それが地震の時にさらに強く印象に残ったんだ。破壊の後に美しい自然を見た時、なんだか救われた気がした。だって建物が壊れてるのを見るのは本当に悲しい。どの家もその中で家族が暮らしていたんだって思うと胸が痛くなる。でも自然は地震の影響を受けずにそこにあって、その美しさがそのまま残っているのを見て本当に感動した。不便なところももちろんあるよ。地震の前は金沢まで車で2時間だったのが今はもっとかかるし、七尾も前は1時間くらいだったのが今は2時間くらい。でももう慣れちゃったかな。もともとこのプログラムを応募した時に田舎に住んでみたいってリクエストしてたし、こういう場所に住むのが私の希望だったから、不便さも受け入れてる感じ。それでももっと便利な都市部に引っ越すのは楽しみかな。生活がもう少し楽になるだろうし、お店が早く閉まらないのも助かる。そういう意味では離れるのがちょっと嬉しいけど、それでもこの場所が大好きなんだ。
Of course, it's very different from the States, different schools and different environment. I mean, I don't know if the students' attitude is that different, but I think I'm used to it by now. Like, I've been here for years. Like, I think that there's some differences. I think it also comes with the job that I have, like being an assistant teacher and rotating around lots of different schools, like kind of just feeling a little bit on the outside of the school culture all the time. But I think that the work that I put in is appreciated by my co-teachers and the students and stuff like that. I really love this place. Like, it's been my home for 5 years and it's a really wonderful culture. Like, the festivals are so great and everyone really comes out and it's really supportive, and I've met so many wonderful people here, and it's also just so beautiful. Like, the nature and like the food is so delicious, and that's something that impressed on me too with the Arquid. I think seeing beautiful nature after so much distraction, because I think I spend so much time around like buildings and seeing them smash and destroy. Just looking at them can kind of make you so sad, because it's every house. Like, a family live there, that whole family's houses is just gone. But I think there were a few times where I started being able to see nature and stuff like that, and seeing it's persisting and it's not really affected by the earthquake in the same way, and seeing that beauty preserved just really moved me. There's some inconvenient stuff I think that because before the earthquake, it was a 2-hour drive to Kanazawa City, and now it's more. To Nanao City, what used to be 1 hour, but now 2 hours. I'm just so used to it at this point. When I applied for the JET program, I requested that I want to live in the countryside. This was the kind of place that I wanted to live, and I think that I just accept a lot of the negatives, but I definitely looking forward to a more urban area now. Things being a little bit more convenient lifestyle, and the stores not closing so early. So it's gonna be a relief when I leave, but even so, I would stay here. I do love this place.